You're not as desperate as me. The older you get, the more desperate you become. Yeah, the older you get, the more desperate you become. Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to Behind the Remodeler, brought to you by KM Builders. I'm Keith Maley, and my co-host is Justin Bravo. Today we're going to be talking about the cost versus value of remodeling. And we're going to be on the seventh episode of Behind the Remodeler. Welcome back, and thanks for listening to Behind the Remodeler. And with me is Justin. It's good to have you with me today, Justin.
I'm always excited to be on this podcast. It's been fun. We're 7 episodes in. Is that what you said?
That's right, 7th episode.
Episode 7. We're talking about cost versus value today.
What do you think about that topic?
Well, I think it's huge. I think that a lot of times it's interesting. I know that I've bought and sold a couple homes, and people tend to want to fix up the house before they sell it, to make it more marketable. But they don't really take that time to enjoy it. I always wonder why people don't,
do it earlier.
Yeah, they know hey, 5-10 years, I'm going to do this anyway. Might as well get it done now so I can enjoy the benefit of it. And then it ups the resale value.
And that's really a good intro into the two types of value that we want to talk about in this show. We have two types of clients that ask that question. Whether they ask it in exactly those words or not, some are wanting to know what would be the value in case I want to sell it right away. Others are thinking more about lots of different types of value, not just the monetary resale value. But they do want to know, are they going to be safe on that also? But you mentioned, it's sad when people put a lot of money into their homes and they didn't get to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we definitely, on the start of this, would recommend that if anybody's going to do anything to their home, of course, do it quality and start enjoying it right now so that you can get more value out of it.
Now, when designing, if that's kind of in mind, resale in mind, do you have to design something that's going to offer a lot of resale value? I mean, you don't want to go to, customized to your likings, right? Extremes.
Yeah. If it gets extremely personal, obviously you're going to probably have a lot less people, lot less potential buyers. So the key to that is that if you're going to go really personal, very unique, and go off of what would be considered the mainstays of design, then you would want to make sure that you're going to be there a long time.
Sure, that makes sense. I would imagine that by keeping it somewhat universal, that's going to allow for the most, the highest value that's going to be brought back.
The largest number of buyers is always, potential buyers is always a really good thing to be searching for if you're going to remodel with that in mind. A lot of people would have to get a special buyer to do certain types of remodeling to get that full benefit. They would be looking for a very special buyer, very specific needs, and sometimes those are just very high-end projects also, because maybe perhaps a lot of the buyers wouldn't want to spend that kind of money, but a certain buyer's really looking for that architecture or that type of interior design flair. And it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just you're going to limit the number of people that would buy that. Again, the key in one of those scenarios and many other scenarios is, was it professionally designed? Mm-hmm. Because even if it's a nuance of a style, maybe a very narrow segment of style, of architecture, then the key is, was it done professionally? It will still be very valuable if it was designed professionally. But if you do something and it's just off the cuff and it doesn't really look that good, and it's maybe you like it, but that could really hurt the value. And that's probably the number one thing we would mention to get the most value out of any remodeling project, is to have it professionally designed. Now that can mean architecturally, it can mean interior design side with all of the selections and the space planning that goes involved in that, and then even in cabinet design, having a professional do the cabinet designs as well. Most projects do involve some cabinetry design, but all three of those should be people with a ton of experience. Degrees in that would be what we'd be looking for, especially on the interior design and the architectural side. We want degree designers. Of course, KM Builders offers all of that and in-house, so that we keep the cost down as well. But that's how you get a lot of value out of it. You can keep the cost low on the design side, then it's all that value that you've saved goes right into the project.
Sure. Now, is that something that y'all provide, or I guess when you're talking about quotes, stuff like that, is it something like say, hey, listen, we're gonna do this bathroom, here's a potential average cost, versus value type scenario, so that they can see that kind of going into it, what they could expect to get back?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask that up front, what would I expect to
I would think
get?
that would be a common question.
It is. It's usually on that first visit, that consultation, when I'm there with them is when that's discussed. And then they decide if it's a fit for them. Now, some that's not really a high priority to them on what am I going to get when I sell it? But it is probably about 75% of the time we talk about that resale value of a product. And generally, the rule of thumb on most projects, kitchens and baths, is a 5-year turnaround to get all of it back. With home improvements going up, like the home price sales prices are going up, then they usually take about 5 years to be safe on that, and sometimes a lot sooner. Can you get every
Sure.
bit of it back? Again, most of our clients are not looking to sell tomorrow when they finish this, or even within a year. But you do have a few that are going to sell in less than 5 years. And there is a risk whenever you do that. If it's not the most popular project in the market currently, or the top selling value payback type of project, that you could have maybe not get it all back. But if you go 5 years on those types of projects, we've seen that almost always, unless you're doing something that you mentioned earlier, like going really off center on the trends, or a certain style, very unique to you. But again, a professional designer would keep that from happening accidentally.
Sure.
It's not going to happen.
Sure. And it would make you aware that, hey, that choice could
limit your resale return.
So what are some of the projects that are like usually slam dunks for getting the best value?
Well, always kitchens and baths. There's three things that we have seen in not only the San Antonio market, but it's repeated nationwide. 3 types of projects are your best return on investment. And assuming that they were all professionally designed, you're going to get your best return on bathrooms, kitchens, and decompartmentalization.
Okay.
And so we'll just start with the bathrooms. Right now, San Antonio has some of the highest cost versus value statistics that we've seen in the history of all the decades I've been in this business. It's not the absolute highest, but it's real close. And we're getting that information from the cost versus value study done by the Harvard Institute, which is completely an independent study done, and it's so comprehensive that it covers all major cities, and there's a different number for every major city.
Sure, yeah.
And so San Antonio has its own numbers. And so just as an example, a bathroom remodel mid-range is shown to be getting a 96% return on investment if you turned around and sold it right away, right after you did the remodel. That's extremely high.
Yeah.
Normally you're going to expect to wait at least a couple of years to get that kind of number. But because of the way things are going with the economy and San Antonio being big on the map right now, people are moving into San Antonio. They want their houses to be remodeled.
Sure.
So if you have it remodeled, when you move in, the thinking is that, hey, I don't have to put that money out, and this is really, really what I want to do. I love this bathroom. It's getting a 96% return on investment right now if you turned around and sold it. So if you're going to enjoy it for a little while, you're safe. You really are safe on this type of remodeling. Now, all the other numbers tend to follow along with that. When you see one high number, you'll tend to see that the remodeling industry shows that the other leader, kitchens, falls right behind that, sometimes ahead of it. But we can expect them to be similar here in San Antonio if you're doing a kitchen remodel, because it is the king when it comes to remodeling. And one thing to think about why people would be willing to pay you back for what you did is because a lot of people, one, do not want to do it themselves. And two, they don't know how hard it is to get it there. If they've looked at homes that are similar price range, or let's say, similar floor plans and similar age of homes, they're going to see a lot of compartmentalization, for example, and they're scared of that. People are scared of taking out walls. They're scared of, what would that cost me to open this kitchen up? But yours has already had it done, and so say you spend $50,000, $60,000 on your project, they may think, wow, to get the other homes I was looking at, I think it would be 75, 80,000.
Oh yeah.
So they see yours is only 60,000 more than what these other homes are running. They're saying this is a way better value.
And Cam's recently done several projects that were opening up, older homes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kind of very,
It's one
very
of my favorites.
tight hallways, and like all the rooms were condensed and opened up to these open spaces. And it's interesting because you can kind of go on the internet, you can kind of Google what's average cost of a kitchen, average cost of a bathroom, and you can at least get a ballpark number. But you can't really Google how much is going to cost me to remove
Walls.
3 walls and scrapes. That's, you have to have someone out there and look at it if it's even possible.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and that is probably one of the projects where we have been on the low end of what other contractors are charging. And I know why. It's because opening up structurally and solving architectural solutions, challenges like that are very, very scary to a lot of contractors. So they really overprice them, or what we hear a lot is that they've told the client that really can't be done. And so either one indicates that they're scared of it. We are certainly not scared of that. We have done, opened up 30 foot of wall with second floors above it. We know how to put the beams and get the engineering and make sure that it is structurally sound. And people are just totally blown away when they see walls opened up and spaces and decompartmentalization accomplished. So I'm doing that right now in a house that I have in Hunter Sound. Which is over in Hunters Creek, right by Chavano Park, and that home was just a really beautiful home. But I went ahead and spent the money to open it up,
Yeah.
and it just feels so much different now.
All the light goes pouring through.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could have sold this home for 300. I got could sold it for 330,000 easily without doing it, but I'm going to be asking close to 400,000 for this home. So this is not something, and that's what I want people to know. When I meet them, I tell them I wouldn't recommend something to you that I wouldn't do in a house that I was going to flip.
Absolutely.
Or in a house I was going to live in, which might be a little bit different project. But either way, once I understand you as a client, what you want to accomplish and when you want to move out, or if you don't want to move out at all, then I'm going to make recommendations to you based on, the Harvard study. We're also going to be basing it on the hundreds of homes that I'm in. I'm in over 500 homes a year. And in 4 years, I'm in over 2,000 homes. I want to give you that perspective.
Oh yeah. And
then we have thousands of clients that are repeat. And these repeat clients have given me very valuable information on what they sold their homes for after we had done a beautiful project for them. The only way I know is because they were asking me to do another project for them, very similar to what we had done before.
Oh, yeah.
They said it worked. We want to do it again.
Well, I imagine they moved out of their old home and they liked the project and they want the new one. Because I guess you even if you're going to the new house that you buy, there's still something about it that you probably want to change and make your own.
You're exactly right, Justin. And I'll add a couple of things to that too. And that is, one is the process was not as bad now that they were not as afraid of it as they were before. It was successful. So they said this can happen, and they loved the results. Another point is almost all homes that you buy, especially unless it's just a really high-end custom home, they don't have things the way you really want. It's not the ultimate kitchen or the ultimate bath.
Sure.
And people want the ultimate kitchen, the ultimate bath, at least for their budget.
Oh yeah. And
you can't get it by going and spending $100,000 more on a home than what you had before. They move up $100,000 to $200,000, but they still don't get everything they want. And remodeling solves those needs so beautifully that we can give you that ultimate, and that ultimate is what sells that home again the next time around.
Oh yeah.
So I find out that they felt like they got everything they wanted on the sale price of the home, and I think that's really, really exciting to see my clients. For me, it's really exciting to see that they want to do it again. They called us back.
Yeah, they come back. What's so funny is, so as we go out, we'll video a lot of the projects. It's a reoccurring theme, and I guess it's other people who've had bad remodeling experiences, but they always talk about how surprised they are, how clean the job sites are all the time. Like everything's always so clean, everyone's so nice, and I always think like, man, you told that to them from the beginning. Hey, it was going to be nice. It was going to be clean. And it's like they didn't believe you, and then you made them a believer. Halfway through that project, or then we get to the end, they're like, wow, it really was, just spotless the entire time.
And I appreciate that little perspective, because sometimes I take it for granted that that's what they're going to say, that's what they're going to do. One of the things too that I've realized is that I have never oversold a project. what it's going to be, especially when we're talking about kitchens, baths, decompartmentalization. When we use professional designers on all these, architectural designers, architecturally degreed designers, degreed interior designers, and our cabinet designer, Bonnie, is just incredible. And now Carolyn assists her also in that. She's an interior designer that also has cabinet experience. We just really get so much out of these projects that I cannot oversell what it's going to be like. In fact, people will tell me after the project, it was so much more than you said it was going to be. And I tell them honestly, I tried to describe it as accurate as I could. I really tried to let you know how good it was going to be, but it can't be done with words, or even 3D renderings can't show the impact of opening up these walls, having an open kitchen to the living areas of the home, and how that feels in real life is just difficult to do with even the best software.
Even just recently, a project out in Garden Ridge opened up that entire home, and that wasn't drastic makeovers of kitchens and bathrooms. I mean, definitely some, but like it was just knocking down walls, opening up hallways. Even something people don't appreciate is what y'all did was raise the ceiling.
An entryway. Yeah, that entryway ceiling was low when you came in.
From like 8 feet to what? I mean, it felt lower than 8 feet. I mean, it felt really like, you know.
I think it was a 7-foot ceiling.
Really? I mean, it
right
felt
at the entryway
snug.
because of the ductwork that was in there to feed the different rooms. It fed multiple areas, and that was the first thing I noticed when I walked in that home. And you know what? They never noticed it for two reasons. One is they'd lived there so long, and two, they never came in that front door. They always came in the side door from the garage area. And so that was a low, that wasn't even on their priority list. And as we started remodeling, I told them about it at the beginning, and we ended up working up a price for them on it. And I just said, well, why don't you let me work up a price for that? And they kind of started looking a little more curiously at that particular project, but he still wasn't sold on it, and they had other priorities, which was fine. But as the other things started taking shape, I mentioned the other project again and started to show them they could actually start to see it now as the opening of the home started to be accomplished. They were actually able to start seeing that, wow, this kind of seems out of place. And then we revisited it, showed them the price on that and what a value it would be. And there was a little bit more than just opening the ceiling. There was also some walls being moved back that we could accomplish to give that initial impact when you walk through that front door from front to back of this house.
Yeah, now, I mean, before you couldn't see it. Now you can see, you walk in that front door, you can see right to that backyard.
To the backyard, yes, to the end of the backyard even. But there was a fireplace in the way, and we put a big old sliding glass door system by Milgard in there. That was just an awesome, awesome project.
I mean, it was very obvious like how old the home was, and then you ripped it apart and it looks like a new home in there.
Yes.
Just because of opening up walls and ceilings.
That's it. And I tell people, you know, decompartmentalization, getting rid of these walls and these barriers to sight and sound and living, basically to living, they are one of the most valuable projects you can do to anyone. I just met a couple last week, and I'm really hoping they take my advice on that. That was something that was opening their mind up. A lot of times they have lived there so long they can't even imagine it.
Well, luckily we've been videoing that project, and that's going to be up on the YouTube channel. People can go check it out, and you can see the before, the during, the after. I mean, check all those things out, because I think that you almost can't really appreciate that until you see that camera walk through and be able to see how opened up it is. I mean, it was an incredible transformation. And I have no idea what it cost. I have no idea the value, but I know if it was a potential buyer and I was walking into that place,
it'd be huge.
I mean, it's
Halteman. It's called the Halteman Remodel, and you're going to really enjoy that. Also, there's another one called the Hummel project, and the Hummel is worth mentioning because we took out some walls that were in an L-shaped patio and made it a straight patio, which gave us more room inside the home. Now that project, he had the house appraised before we did the work. And then afterward, he had it appraised again. We charged $62,000 for that project, and it was appraised at $118,000 more.
That's incredible. So
it again verifies what we're saying about professional designs, architecturally, by professional architectural designers. Which this was a large architectural heavy project, and then of course interior design with floorings, with treatments, and so forth. Windows were a big part of this. Windows and door systems. But with our great purchasing power, by being dealers for many, many products that he used in his home, we're adding it on our profit and overhead on top of a much lower cost. Now that's another way that we bring value to the costs that we're charging.
Sure.
And so if we can keep those costs lower, that always helps with the value.
Well, I love the experience that you bring. I've seen you, you know, when we go out on these projects and immediately talk about the framing or can we remove this? Because I've seen, you know, a lot of people they'll BS it. They're like, oh yeah, we can remove that wall. You know, and they'll like get a framer out there to verify that that can actually be done.
They wonder how they're going to do it later.
Yeah. You pop your head up in there and, you know, you start talking, you're speaking in a different language. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. He's like, this angle, this cut, with this type header sandwich on this, with the blah, blah, blah. It literally sounds like you're speaking Greek to me.
Well, I'm not trying to do that, though.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not.
But I guess it does sound that way, and a lot of times, you know, when I'm meeting the customer for the first time, I have to talk that at the level that they will understand and actually.
Yeah, bring kind of, you know, I don't know. To me, it's like, you know, do you want to educate? You know, when you're talking with the client, is educate and talk about these different aspects of the framing, but at the same time, you know, like, you know, bring it in so they can understand what you're talking about. And so when you do it for me, when we're out on projects, I'm like, I'm soaking it in. Like we talked about on this project, we were downtown, and you were talking about the way the header was sandwiched, you know, to create, you know, because it creates a little bit more structural integrity, it allowed you to open it up more. Like I thought that was huge. Something like every time I pick up these little tidbits on stuff, and I think it's just ideal. But I think, you know, the designers and everyone being able to kind of pull that together is what's going to ultimately bring the value, because if you go and you do a framing job, you remove a wall, you know, that could be the opposite of value if it wasn't framed correctly during the remodeling process.
Right, and you know, my years of experience in structural framing and having run this business, I mean, I was a framer for many years, but also just having seen what we can do, what engineers will help us design, what the architectural team can do. It gives me a vision that I can share with a client on the very first visit. It's why I insist on meeting every client at the beginning. And then I share that vision with them and really listen to them and what they were thinking, and maybe expand that. Try to expand that if they've been too limited. Maybe, and a lot of times people will tell me, you know, no one has ever mentioned that. We never thought of that before. And so it's one of the reasons they will probably end up signing a design agreement and then taking that next step forward to see what their project could be like. It doesn't mean they're going to buy the project at that point, but it's a nice, warm step forward that helps them to become more acquainted with the details of the project. And then, of course, we have a very good success rate with those who sign design agreements and let us go all the way through designing the project. You know, we're over 90% of those are going to actually sign the contract to let us do the work, because the confidence has been built. The pricing is transparent also, so they can see the value of the cost, because the costs are right there on every element, and they can make really good financial decisions. I think a key to getting the cost versus value at the right level has to do with giving people choices. When you have choices, the value to you might be different than to someone else, so you're going to choose which project elements you think are most important. Is opening up that wall this far more important to you versus someone else who might only open it this far? Do you want the header to be below the ceiling, or do you want the header to be above the ceiling? We'll give you two different prices for that, because it does change the price. But to some people, that's the value. That's the limit of the value that they'd want to spend. Another person may take it further.
Well, that's cool about remodeling, is it's very customized. So
very customized.
And y'all allow the kind of customization. You know, when the team goes in, it can pull on all these different parts of the project and different aspects. People can decide what it is that makes sense to them, what they want to spend. It's
very customizable. I mean, remodeling should be customizable. It should be fun. It should be easy to see. It should be very exciting to be able to say, oh, I could do that for that much. And but if you don't have a team that can break down all these prices, it's going to be hard to have choices. It's going to be hard to have economic solutions for your budgets. But with our team, I go in, share a vision, listen to the client first, and then share that vision with them, get them interested in seeing what that would be to fully design it, because I'm just giving ballpark figures at that point about what price ranges you could be in. Then they decide the specifics of that price range. By having a team that understands the vision, completes the vision for the client, and then a team that breaks it all down and gives them all these different components and elements that they may or may not want to do, because there's so many nuances on it. And it is a lot of fun to know that I'm turning it over to a team that understands the vision, and that the client is going to get more and more really usable, good information, and they are not going to be backed up into a corner with a price that they cannot do for whatever reason and have no way out.
And I think that's really, it's tough. And people, I guess a lot of people relate to this, is that there's so much ambiguity in the pricing of remodeling. So what happens is, like, if I'm going to go buy a new Toyota, before I walk into that dealership, I have an idea what it costs. I mean, heck, I can even build it out. So there's some negotiation rate there. But when I remodel, I have no idea. And that's intimidating to say, hey, come to my house. I have no idea what this is going to cost,
right?
And I hope that I can afford it. And for you to say, well, here's a ballpark, and you say, okay, well, I'm in that ballpark. Now let's customize it to be really close to where your budget's set.
Let's get real specific and give you these choices. So I enumerate a lot of choices. Using that car comparison again, there's not that much variation. It's a small percentage of variation from one dealer to another, and unfortunately, you see huge differences in what people are telling people projects will cost. Now, we tend to err on the side of caution by telling people what they really need to hear. It's not what they want to hear many times, but it's what they need to hear. And what I mean by that is, we're not leaving out crucial parts of the project. When I'm formulating your price, it's not going to be missing components later on when you say, well, I thought I was going to get what I wanted for that price. Well, no, you're getting this, is what you'll end up finding. Many people end up finding out the hard way that the reason there's a large difference between pricing with contractors is because they're not talking about the same project. There really isn't that much difference in what they're going to make off of a project. It's how they're designing that project, or another way of putting it is their sales technique. Their sales technique is to use a low price, hook you in, get you excited. How could you not want to do business with me? My price is so much lower. And that does hook a lot of people. But later on, they find out that either one, they can't finish the project for that price, or two, every element that they needed or really thought was important to them, so many of those elements are now extra. Or both. They can't finish it, and they didn't plan on putting those things in there.
A huge percentage of their revenue is change orders.
Because for them.
Because it wasn't. They didn't either. They forgot about it, or it could be on purpose. It could be on accident. Either way, it's not a good thing to get a change order for any percentage.
No, it's not. Surprises are nice things in life generally. When somebody says they're going to bring you a surprise, but not with contractors. Most people do not think of the word surprise and contractors as being a good thing, and it's for good reason. But what we've done to try to eliminate is that get into a design agreement where we can get specific. I always think of that term, sharpen your pencil before you give me that number. What we mean, what we imply is precision. That sharp pencil tip indicates being very detailed and being very careful. And the only way to do that is to have a team that can actually grab those details, can actually do a comprehensive overview and in-depth evaluation of that project, so that we have all the information we need to know what we should specifically charge to move it to here or to move it to here.
That's why I like your whole mantra of the difference between estimates and quotes. I don't know if everyone's heard that, but I think it's
we don't do free estimates. For one reason is we don't do estimates. And the second reason is they aren't free. Because the kind of in-depth quality investigation that we've got to do, and the drawings and details that we do, could no way be done for free. Everybody would want it, and we couldn't spend that much time with everyone. So we worked with people who were very serious about wanting real numbers and real facts, real details. So much so can we give you that we will even guarantee the price. Once we're done, you're not going to have to worry about 10, 15, 20, 25% extra on the tail end of a project, and that puts people at ease. That is cost, good value versus the cost you paid for it.
Well, I guess when you're doing a free estimate, that's why you can get 10, 20, 30% in change orders, because it was an estimate.
It was just an estimate, and people are suckered into that, and they will freely admit that. I've even asked people, so if you get a free estimate, do you think that it could possibly change? And is that to be expected? And they said yes. So they've already given the contractor permission to charge them more in their minds. And how sad that is. I asked them, if you spend $100 going out to eat at dinner, and the menu says it's $100, do you expect to pay 15, 20, or 30% more? And they say, absolutely not. Well, what a shame that we get something that we have paid even more for something. We don't expect that with a car. We shouldn't expect it with a remodeling project either.
You don't see that too many places in life. When you walk into Target and it says, that shirt.
Advertised price.
Estimate.
Yeah, it's an estimate.
This shirt is estimated at $8.
Oh, well, you're large. We didn't know you were large.
It's $8.50 for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be 20% more for you, sir.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't work, does it? In real life, it doesn't work. But unfortunately, the bar that is set in the remodeling business is very low, and we're here to bust that bar. We're not here to just move it. We want to bust that bar and there should be no limit to the type of service that we should be giving in remodeling. I mean, it's 100 times more service than that nice restaurant where you go, where you go for a product first, but you also go for the service. It's not just the steak.
Sure.
It's the service along with it.
Absolutely.
And people call us primarily for a product in their minds, but they realize shortly after talking to me that it's a service along with it. As you mentioned, cleanliness, also transparency and pricing, and being able to, the service starts when we're doing pricing, way before we create any dust at all, or contain that dust. We are having to do a service in breaking down all this pricing for you.
People don't understand how much effort's put into that.
That's right.
I mean, that's a lot of work, breaking down all those things, because you're giving a quote, and what you're asking for, what you're charging is what you want to get paid for towards the whole project. You're not looking to,
and we're not even
inflate
covering
this by 20%.
We're not even covering our cost on the design agreement. So it is a real value because it's professionally designed, because it gives you choices and it gives you guarantees. So that is a real value versus the cost that you're putting toward it.
And I think a lot of people are looking at that design as, oh, that's just something so I can see what it looks like before the project starts. That's just something for a conceptual thing. And yes, it is. That's
Helps
help you
do
get a
that.
picture, but it's so much more than that.
It is so much more than that.
Everything is based off that.
Right. It's details. Details. This is, as you know, this is the way I think. This is the way I operate. I don't deal in vagaries. I'm always that way in life about specifics. I sometimes, when I'm interested in a purchase, I know more about the product than the salesperson does. So I want to know details on anything. I don't care whether it's a food, whether it's a car, my Hellcat. I mean, if we're buying a Lexus for my wife. I knew the details, and I want details, and that's the way we're going to purchase. And a lot of people do appreciate what we're bringing to the table here. Not everyone appreciates it, so they're obviously not a good fit for us because they can't see the value in it, no matter what we say or do.
Sure.
But it's probably because they're somewhat naive about what they're really going to get in the other purchase that they're about to make.
Sure.
They're going to be disappointed, so much so that I tell them these two things. If you have us do this remodeling, you will recommend us to everyone after we're done. And then they say, okay, that makes sense. And then I say, but you may not be prepared for what I'm about to say. If we do not do this remodeling, you will be recommending us to all your other candidates. And the truth is because we've set the bar so high that they realize they didn't get what they should have gotten. And they're going to struggle with it during the project. And they're not going to have the value versus the cost they put in. And they're going to see that value diminish. And they're going to see the price going up and the value going down at the same exact time. And that's because they do not have the staff dedicated to do it this way. They do not have the process set up to do it this way.
And it's strange. I don't know why the CAM method's unique, because you would think it's the obvious method that everyone should be doing, but it is like going in the kitchen, baking a cake, and totally winging it. And saying, they're making the batter like, oh man, I need an extra egg. No, I need a little bit more flour. And I need, they're trying to get the dough right.
You've done that.
And they keep, I have. I keep pouring it in there. And like, oh, all of a sudden, now I've used 2 more eggs than I thought. I've used 2 more of this.
That's how I cook too.
They bill someone else.
That's how I cook, but I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't sell that process to anybody because I've learned that I better perfect this.
Yeah, if you get your recipe, then you know exactly, like, there's not waste. You know exactly, like, I'm going to lay this out. This is what it's going to do. This is what it's going to take, and this is what
And I think the reason why, Justin, is because it takes a big investment in people and staff to run a business like this with this many components to be ready to perform for people, not only in the design, but in the extrapolation of these numbers
Sure.
to give an exact quote that's hard, fast. And remember, we can't just charge what we want to charge.
Sure.
People won't buy it.
Yeah.
But we do have that over 90% turnaround on our projects. That is because we have not only shown the detail and shown the value, but the price is right also.
Sure.
That's where the value is. And so you're seeing incredible amount of services being performed, an incredible amount of detail, opportunities for different pricing, for you to make choices, and beautiful designs, professionally designed, but then the price is right, it's fair. And you really see the value, and so people do take advantage of it. So not everyone takes advantage of our services because they just can't get it, and you know, they're gonna find out the hard way. But I've actually had people tell me, I ask everyone, how did you get referred to KM Builders? How did we get referred to you?
Sure.
And they said, well, you know, a neighbor down the street referred us to you. And I know, I meet every client, and I
Sure.
know every house that we've worked on. And if I'm in a neighborhood, I already know who we've done what. And,
Sure.
and sometimes I've said, really? I said, I haven't done any work on this street before. And then they remember at that point, and they tell me, oh, that's right. They said they didn't use you, but they should have. And so we'll get referred. Whether we do the project or not, we know we're gonna get referred because we have set the bar so high.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of things to consider when you think about what's the value of my remodeling project. We talked about numbers, but there's so many other things to think about. How about all those years of use that you're going to get out of it? Even if you didn't get 100% back, I mean, it would probably be worth it. I mean, when you go on a vacation and your new kitchen, your new bath can feel like a vacation every day.
I was gonna say that. Have you ever taken a trip and you get in that luxury bathroom and it's got a nice shower head?
It feels pretty
steam,
good.
It feels awesome.
And whenever you paid for it in that trip, how much were you able to sell that trip for later?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Zero.
Right. For that
Zero.
For that $250 a night that you spend on that room, you could have that every night.
That European vacation that cost you $20,000. What's that worth today? Could you sell it? Could you ever get anything out of it? Absolutely
Sure.
not. It's just memories. And in fact, it's only memories because you can't use it again. You cannot use it again after that trip's over with. But this is different. You spend money on a remodeling project, it pays you back every day because of the incredible use. And we're talking about you're gonna get it back when you sell it.
Absolutely.
That's like using it for free. It is an incredible value. So maybe, you know, people should focus a little less on, will I get every penny back? And really focus on the bigger payback
Sure.
is how many years you're going to be able to enjoy it. Now, is it really true that you could get it back after using it for 5, 10, 15 years? Absolutely. But only if it was professionally designed. And if it was professionally installed with quality products. Because a professional designer will not select inferior products for your project. KM Builders will not do that. We will only allow you to recommend to you products that will hold up for 25, 30 years. And so when you go to resell, you're gonna have enjoyed it for all those years, and all you have to do is knock the dust off of it, make sure that it's not dusty that day that you go to sell it. Example of that would be using non-staining grouts. How wonderful it is after using it 10 years that the grout's still the same color as when you bought it because it will not stain. Cost about $100 per shower more, but what a difference.
Oh yeah.
Lifetime warranty cabinets where the finishes are even guaranteed for life.
Wow.
I mean, all of this product now is not going to show any wear and tear. Granite quartz tops that never stain. I mean, they're going to last
That's
forever.
incredible.
Yeah.
Where else in life can you buy something like that and actually be able to get the resale value on
Exactly.
that? I mean, outside of diamonds, I don't know, like
That's about
some
it.
jewelry.
Yeah. And who knows what happens at the diamond market from time to time.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
But remodeling is always going to cost the same to do, or more. We've never seen it go down. Even when the economy went down, remodeling prices did not go down. They stayed the same for a while, but there was actually some bumps in some of the lumber during one of the worst recessions we've ever experienced.
I remember that. Yeah.
Some of the lumber prices still went up. So it's completely independent of the economy. Remodeling will never be worth less than what you paid for it, unless it was done inferior, unless it was done unprofessionally designed, or with no design at all, where you just kind of have people say, I can make this look great for you, and you know, it'll look good, trust me. It's the worst words you can, 2 words to hear, trust me.
Now, where outside of kitchens and baths can you like bring a lot of value on, for resale? Now, I've noticed like Cam's done a couple like stone veneers and like you're just kind of changing the outside. Because I would imagine, to me, like curb appeal is just as important as some of the interior stuff. Like, is there a lot of value you can get returned there?
Yeah, faux stone, manufactured stone veneers are really, really good resale. They're in the almost around the 90% return on investment if you turn around and sell that, according to the Harvard study, right away. If you turn around and sell it right away. And so we are dealers for El Dorado stone, which is the most realistic faux stone made in the world. If you want it in South Texas, you get it from KM Builders. So we're dealers for that product, and so
that could dramatically change the look of a home.
Oh yeah, and the price is dramatically different too, because we're dealers for that product, and so other builders buy from us, but they don't get the price that we do. So when we offer it to you as a consumer, we're adding more value for that cost, because it's going to have a great resale, and it does. It works great on fireplaces.
I was going to ask you, is you can use it in the interior as well?
It works great on backsplash. It works great on bar walls and accent walls in homes. It is absolutely beautiful. I'll be putting one in my home soon, a nice accent wall in the living room. It looks beautiful behind woven into an entertainment center. Some entertainment centers are open in the back.
Sure.
It's gorgeous to see a stone behind the.
That'd be cool.
Maybe a smaller version of a stone.
And there's tons of options.
Oh yeah, just hundreds of different selections.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
So if you want to see that, where you can really put some cute value into your home on the inside or the outside, it's nice to have maybe an accent wall or 2 on the outside, and that does pay you back handsomely. Again, price it all out, see what you like, put it as an accent wall in your backyard, put some wood mixed in it. So these things are really great. Another one too that's really on the outside, thinking of the outside, is garage doors. Upscale garage doors are absolutely beautiful, and you know why? Because nobody has them. Everybody's bored to death with garage doors, but there are some absolutely beautiful garage doors.
It's kind of wild. Like, nobody loves their garage door, but except for that Taylor project.
That Taylor project was contemporary.
I kind
contemporary.
of love garage doors for the first time in my life.
Yes, it makes you think about how you'd like to have that on your home.
Oh yeah.
And it's gotten me sparked too, because we're going to put something. That's a big piece of the exterior facade. It's a large percentage. Double wide garage doors, or 2 or 3 garage doors separated, is a big percentage of the look of a home. So you do not want to miss that when you're thinking of an exterior facelift. The first thing you should do is have it professionally designed, make sure you get the overall theme, but then the first project can be put those doors on there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, the average, I think the Harvard study said that on garage door replacement on upscale, you're going to spend around $3,300. Now, we've done some for a lot less than that. And if you just want to change the door itself, $3,300 is a good little round number.
Especially if you have a front-facing garage. I mean,
absolutely.
That changes the entire game. And I've seen some really cool ones. I've seen stuff that a lot of people even they'll have their pets, and they have like lower windows so the pets can see out. And, I mean, all kinds of crazy things.
And for $3,300, even if it's a side-facing garage, just to see that when you pull in for yourself, it'd be worth it. You just feel like you're going into a luxury modern home, or maybe a rustic Tuscany look, something like that.
So they're only
$3,300
for an upscale one?
That's typical. That's a typical price for just removing and replacing.
Wow.
Now, we do a lot of other projects too, where people they just want the room in their garage doors too. They want this super wide garage door. So we take the header, the dividing column between it, 2 separate garage doors, and we put a new header above that. Now the cost is going to go up on that, but a lot of people, and we've done it for people who have luxury cars or sports cars and things, they just don't want to get that close to it. They've maybe nicked it before.
Yeah.
And you said, this is just, I'm thinking about buying another home because I don't like my tight garage door space. And 2 garage doors that are separated becomes a beautiful garage door when they're combined.
So.
And it's wider than your typical double car garage door now. So if you go buy a home with a 2-car garage because you don't like the tightness of a single, you're not going to get what you could have gotten what we could have done for you if you just let me combine both those doors. It's actually going to be wider, and it's not that expensive. So it's a beautiful, and then put some beautiful doors with some nice
yeah.
windows and so forth on there. It's a great project.
Now we're in Texas, and we're home of some really tall trucks too. And I
That's
know
right.
you've done some garages.
That's right.
That you've made taller
We've
too.
raised headers. We've built additions on garages. All of these are structural solutions, and people are thrilled when they see what can be done with theirs, and they don't have to move.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and they know that the home they want to buy probably doesn't have it either. If they spend another $150,000, $200,000 on the home, it probably doesn't have that specialized truck bay for them either.
Oh no! So right now I'm driving a little sports car. I can fit that thing in anywhere.
Uh-huh.
Before that, I had a big old truck. It was
Couldn't
really
fit
tall,
it anywhere.
and it wouldn't go anywhere. And it was funny because we have big trucks here, but we also have big hail. Happens all the time.
That's right.
And I would see the hailstorm coming. I'd be like, oh, I gotta go park in the garage, and that was not happening. So I'd end up like parking just like the hood in there, or just shove a little piece in there, just enough to protect
To
it.
put blankets on it and so forth.
Yeah. It's like I could not pull it in there, and it would have been amazing to be able to pull that truck, a big lifted
really
truck,
is
right in
valuable.
the truck.
And people take a lot of pride in their vehicles. They want to be able to use them for versatile use. And so it really is a wonderful project, and it does add value. That's why you get the value back in these projects, because other people feel the same way you do about it.
Sure.
That I don't want to be limited to what I can pull in here.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even built them for our RVs.
Sure.
Built separate bays for RVs, and that keeps the RV from deteriorating in the sun. Those things really need to be protected.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do that. And when you think of cost versus value in general, you want to think about the years of use that you're going to get out of it, the fun you're going to get out of it, the organization, just having maybe a kitchen more organized, or even a garage more organized, is going to just be so mentally relaxing to you and enjoyable. You're going to have fun going in your garage, fun going into your bathroom, your spa-like treatment, the refreshing feeling you're going to get, the rejuvenation,
Absolutely.
the inspiration in your life. I say it all the time. This project will change your life.
Oh, yeah.
What's the value in that?
I'll tell you, it's huge. So the house I lived in before the one I lived in now, or one I'm living in now, the entertaining space was awful. Like there was no space to have people over, have friends, have family, and we end up always having it over at my sister's house or my parents' house, and that's where we'd always get together and have it over there. Even my own birthday party, I'd be like, hey, can we have it over at your house, because I don't have, it's too tight.
How would it have felt?
And it would have been amazing, to be able to, hey, come on over, come on.
Yeah.
We're putting on steaks, we're doing this, we're gonna have beer, where you come over and
To have your outdoor kitchen organized and to have it all ready to go, and to be impressive.
To me, that's the greatest thing. And for instance, even that Taylor project, be able to have that their kitchen and the way it's now, it's all expansive, and people can go in there
the serving area to the outside.
And I feel like
awesome.
I'd have parties all the time.
Oh, absolutely, you would. I mean, it will change your life.
They have to ask people to leave there, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
They're like, all right, party's over.
Or to tell them, no party this weekend. No party this weekend. I know everybody's thinking we're going to do it every weekend, but it's not a party this weekend.
Because the designers installed this incredible. If y'all haven't seen it, go to the vlog. You can see this project. It's so crazy.
Taylor.
I love that. I don't even know what's called, that serving bar window.
Yeah, the flip-up door, the serving bar on the outside is incredible. We've done that. We're doing it on the Halteman project too.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be awesome.
I think it's pretty cool to be able to bring that indoors out and all the things. It makes it very seamless, and you can serve, and I don't know. I think it's insane.
So cost versus value, or value versus the cost. Think about it. In getting the money back in the project, if you sell, the years of use, what would it take to have to move? You got to think about that. What would you be paying a realtor to sell that house and to buy the new one? You'd probably have half of the project paid for already,
Probably right.
if not all of it.
You don't realize how much stuff you have until you go to move it.
Yeah, and then that stress that you just mentioned, moving all of your stuff, paying movers, and then having to buy new things for the home because it doesn't fit or work.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is a lot of money, and most remodeling projects would be paid for by that alone. But then you got to add in, you're going to probably move up on a home. Your payment's going to be bigger. You're going to have bigger taxes. You're going to have more insurance to pay every month. And all of those things are avoided by remodeling your home.
That's true.
And at least in most homes, when we're doing these projects, we're not actually increasing the size of the home. And you know what that means on taxes? No change in the taxes.
That's true.
That's right, no change in the taxes. Just because it's more beautiful inside doesn't mean they can charge you more. You're still going to get on taxes. Now, not on resale, but on taxes, you're going to get what the average area is in that neighborhood. When you go to resell is when you want to get the real value.
Yeah.
And that's when you want to get as much as you can. But keep those taxes low, keep your insurance low as you can, and just know that that's money in the bank. That goes to your savings. And remember, you are not taking this money out of your portfolio. You're just putting it in another place of your portfolio. It will be there if you ever need to capitalize on it. So don't feel guilty for enjoying an absolutely gorgeous time every day in your home.
Oh, yeah.
And being thrilled for going home, and don't feel guilty because it's still there for you to capture should you ever need to. You didn't poop this off like on a big expensive vacation or a car that will depreciate in value.
Absolutely.
You want those cars and you want those vacations, fine, but this is a better investment. This has true value versus the cost, and no one that I've ever remodeled for ever regretted it. No one ever told me that it just wasn't worth it. In fact, they've told us we want to do more now. We see the value.
Oh, I mean, I can imagine right now, like, the impact just to your life, you know, like, you know, getting up and having it, you know, for me, like, I love a shower first thing in the morning, like, to be able to get up and get in that relaxing shower, or even at the end of the night, like, that's huge. I mean, bathtubs, soaking tubs, like, how impactful is that?
Yeah, so whatever is your fantasy project, it can be done with professional remodelers and designers. It starts off with that design process, and whether it's that man cave, she shed, or custom garage, custom
she sheds are
bathroom.
taking over now.
Yeah. So, I mean, really and truly, the value can be there, but you need those elements of having someone really go into the detail with you, show you what the available options are, have it professionally designed, and then make your choices and just get ready to be thrilled.
I'm sold. I'm remodeling.
All right. Well, I can't wait to work for you on your project because you've got some really good inspiration and ideas. And we hope that everyone will want to sit down and figure out what they need and what they want and decide on what to invest in, because it will pay you back for years and years to come.
Good.
Good job.